Hello, my name is Steve Bowler, and in this video I'm going to be showing you guys a little BGP configuration. I'm probably just going to start off just setting up the BGP connections and explaining what's going on with the types of connections you can have. Usually BGP is run between different autonomous systems. Like you can see here, customer 1, we're going to be using AS100, and the ISP over here, these three routers in the triangle, we're going to be running AS200. And usually you wouldn't be running BGP if you're just a single homed, or you just had one connection, a single connection to your service provider. They're just going to probably send you a static default route. But it gets a little more complicated when you have more than one path out, and you want to prefer certain paths over others and do more complex route manipulation. That's when BGP comes in. You can use that to get the results that you want, that you wouldn't be able to using static routes. So I'm going to start off here. We're going to we have two connections from our customer to the ISP. We have we have a primary link here. It's like a T3, 45 meg, and then we have alternate at 1.5. It's like a T1 connection. So I'm just going to start from here and see what happens. So we're going to go in the customer router first. Just to get, to let you guys know, I've already set up all the IP addresses, the interfaces, the loopbacks, so we don't have to worry about any of that. So I'm going to go in to customer 1, and to configure BGP, you do it from global config mode. You just type in router BGP, and then right here is just your autonomous system number. We're AS100, so I'm going to put our AS in here for the customer, and that starts the BGP process on the router. And next, what we want to do is we can put in here our neighbor statements. Basically, BGP, we have to be peering to another router, and they have to peer back to us. Both sides have to be set up to peer with each other. It's not like an IGP, interior gateway routing protocol, where you can just specify a network command, and then it'll just go out and find the interfaces assigned with that network that you put in, and it'll peer. It has to be explicitly set up on both sides to peer with each other. So router BGP 100, then under here we're going to go ahead and peer with our top neighbor here over to 45 meg, which would be neighbor, and then we put his IP address on the far side. And after that, you're going to see you have a bunch of stuff you can put in here. We're not going to worry about any of this right now. The only thing we're going to worry about after our neighbor, we're just going to put in remote AS, and then we just point it towards who we're peering with. Here we're going to peer with our ISP, and their AS200, so we're going to put remote AS200. And that is called an external BGP neighbor, is when you peer within two different separate autonomous systems. An internal BGP neighbor would be if I'm, over here, you can see I have iBGP over here on all these guys. This is the ISP. They can be running, iBGP internally, inside of their own AS. That's an internal BGP configuration. We'll get more into that later. But for now I'm just going to set up our neighbor commands. Now I'm going to peer to our guy down here, ISP router 2, and that's okay. Again, like I was telling you guys earlier, with BGP, you use it to basically advertise networks out to our, to other autonomous systems, and then those autonomous systems advertise those networks out. So basically, BGP is the routing protocol, of the internet. It's just a bunch of different. The internet's just made up of a bunch of different autonomous systems, and so what we want to do, I mean, we could leave the config how it is now, but it really wouldn't do us any good just having a peering session with, the ISP. We actually have to specify what networks, what we want to advertise out to, our ISP, and that way they can, we can become routable on the internet, our networks. So to do that, we use the network command. But the network command here is not like in the IGP world, where your network, like I was saying earlier, you set up the network and then specify your subnet, and then that'll go out and automatically peer with find its neighbors. This network specifies what this network command in BGP specifies what what subnets we want to advertise out, in our BGP config. So go ahead and put in here. You can type in the mask, or if I'm going to put in the mask. And then here. Okay, so we got, and in order for the, you have a BGP topology table, and then you have your IP routing table. In order for these networks to actually be advertised out to, our BGP neighbor, we have to have a connection in our routing table that matches specifically the prefix that we're specifying here, that we're advertising. So inside of our routing table, to show IP route, we have to have, a network subnet that has to, match inside our routing table for it to be added to the BGP table.